Hello, welcome to Scrap Time. My name is Christine, and in this video we are going to be using some stencils to make some really quick little note cards, which is perfect for giving as hostess gifts in the holiday season. So here we have two cards. Now this one is just the stencil. Here we have the stencil on a white, inexpensive note card. Now when you're using acrylic paint, you can use inexpensive paper. It's no problem because of the type of paint. It's not like watercolor. You can use acrylic paint on any paper. So all I did was take some paint, put it through the stencil, and ta-da! It's a really simple note card. And if you made like a set of 6 of these, you can wrap them up and give them as a gift. You could get fancy and do more than one color paint, whatever you'd like. Now the other option is I have so many backgrounds of cards that I did different techniques on but never really finished. And if you have any of those, you can use those now. Just by adding this stencil. For this one, here's the stencil I used. I just put it over top and I have a really pretty card. Just by leaving like this, it's just a nice little note card that again you can package up and give as hostess gifts. So I'm just going to show you how easy it was to make this card. Now these two stencils that I'm using today are Botanical Dreams and Wild Roses. But I'll put links down below to the stencils if you're interested in purchasing them. So I have my background here, and then so here's the stencil, and you can decide how you want it to go on the card. Now this is a 6x6 stencil and my card is 5.5 inches, but because it has that little border around, it just fits that 5.5 inch mark pretty much. So again, it moves a little. You can decide where you want it. And you can either just hold it or you can tape it in place. I'm just using some of this purple tape from Thermoweb. And I'm just taping the stencil down. I'm not actually taping the card down. But it just helps keep everything sort of locked in place. I'm using a basics paint in a nice sort of dark pink. And this is a medium bodied paint. You don't want to use too thin of a paint or else it might get underneath the little design. So what I do is I use a makeup sponge and then I just stamp off some of the paint because again, you don't want it too thick going on. And I start by just as if you're stencil, but then I can also go in and push it down a bit. I can just sort of brush on a layer. Now depending what color your background is too, will also decide what color paint you want. The great thing with acrylic paint, especially once you get into the medium or heavy bodied paints, is that most of them are opaque. So you could have done a really dark background, but you could use like a white paint over top of it, which could look really cool too. So depending on the stencil you choose and the color paint you choose, you can make some really interesting designs. And these all make really great note cards. I use them for teacher's notes all the time when I'm giving, if Gemma needs a note for something. And people like them as gifts. I've given cards out as gifts for years. So I think we got most of it covered. And just squeeze a bit more paint through there. And then, ta-da! So by having that background, it also makes it interesting compared to just the solid white. And here was a similar card I did. You can see that I moved my stencil around. So even though it's the same stencil, there's a different design on it. And so it's that simple and inexpensive that you can make a bunch of cards and wrap them up and over the holidays. Teacher's gifts, hostess gifts, everybody likes to receive cards. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos on YouTube. In the meantime, here are a couple other videos you might be interested in watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.